Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. I got a haircut, finally. It's different. I'm not totally sure what I think about it, but I have a wedding in a few days, and I wanted to, it's not mine, and I wanted to get a haircut before then, because I'm actually in the wedding itself, and I think it's interesting. It's different. My headset's messed it up a little bit, but, you know, a little bit more poofier than it was earlier, but either way, there's that. Get that out of the way. Today's video, I want to talk about the changes, the buffs that are coming to Affliction and Destruction Warlock in patch 10.2.7, which is happening this coming Tuesday. Let's also push the post about 10 minutes ago talking about nerfing Tome Unstable Power, so we'll hit on all that briefly. Hopefully it's a long of a video, and then just go from there. I guess actually let's just go from there and get into it. Alrighty, so getting into the changes here. I also just realized I'm on my Shadow Priest, I need to change that. Also, Shadow Priest is busted. I have not run a key in this character since Legion. Literally, Shadow Priest is cracked. Like, it is so fun and so simple to play. Dude, I want AF to be like this. Like, it is actually absurd. Anyways, let's get on my Warlock and talk about these changes. So the changes that came today are to Affliction and Destruction. No Demonology changes today, but the ones to AF I don't think are incredibly impactful, and Destro, I'll take it. So for Affliction, we have Doom Blossom being buffed by 10%, which is your AoE ability. Shares a node with Dread Touch in the bottom row. Keep in mind, in War Within, Dread Touch and Doom Blossom, swap to it now, are both indeed going away. They're not around anymore. But Doom Blossom brings that mass AoE profile, right? The one that AF is really good at when it comes to that snap burst compared to, you know, Demonology, or sorry, Destra having that ramp-based AoE profile. Doom Blossom, very strong with snap AoE. When you're applying it with Soul Rot, your tier bonus, obviously with Soul Rot and Gluttony, and Dark Harvest giving you that haste crit amp. It can lead to an insane amount of snap on-demand burst, likely the highest in the game. But the problem with AF in Mythic Plus, and when you're trying to play like a hybrid build, it lacks in single target, because you're forced to play either Doom Blossom or Dread Touch. If you play Dread Touch and Plus, I mean, you just play Demonology or Destruction either way. But if you're playing Dread Touch and Plus as AF, unless you're playing AF because you like AF. If you're doing that, it's more than fine, A-okay. But if you're doing it just because, like, oh, you know, whatever, Demo and Destro is better. I'm not saying AF is terrible, but when you have two specs that are close to being meta, one being meta, basically, in Demo and Destro, the third spec typically falls by the wayside. So either way, the buffs to Doom Blossom, they're nice. They'll help the already strong, like, strong AoE snap burst that we get. But, you know, that's sort of that overall. Let me find Warlock here again. Vial Taint damage increased by 25%. This is actually interesting. I'm not sure the exact percent that Vial Taint is overall in our breakdown at M+. It's a substantial buff, 25%. Vial Taint is there to apply Agony and AoE and all that as well, which is, you know, nice, all the way above. It'll be like relatively minuscule in single target, but it's a minor buff. It's something. At the same time, Soul Flame, which is gone in War Within, essentially becoming Shared Fate, a dot-based Soul Flame. Damage increased by 20%, which is fine. Soul Flame, for the most part, cool ability, iconic. I'm sad it's going away in War Within. At the same time, you know, Shared Fate is a dot-based version of what we're getting in War Within in the Soul Harvest tree. But Soul Flame, for the most part, I mean, it hasn't been anywhere near as strong as it used to be. Obviously, in Legion, or even in Shadowlands, in pre-patch, when you had, you know, the orbs in Fated Raids, you're just blowing the world up, right? When Soul Flame was double hitting everything. A 20% buff is fine. It'll help a bit in AoE again as well. Those big pulls in Algathars and places like that are going to be spicy with Doom Blossom buff, Soul Flame buff, and I guess Vial Taint to a certain extent, you know, on the basically 8 targets that it hits. But either way, their buffs, I guess we'll take them. I don't think it addresses the main issue, being the lack of, like, single target playing a build with Doom Blossom in it, and at the same time, just in general, compared to, you know, Demo and Destro. But either way, there's that. Soul Rot, 5%. It's very minuscule. It's a bit of a buff, obviously, in single target and AoE. So there's that. We'll take it overall. Not great, not terrible, but something. I also have Sims here for Affliction, AF and AF. So yeah, these are run by the Warlock Discord, not by me. They were run earlier. I just grabbed them, pulled them up. Thank you again for running them, guys. They do better work than I do when it comes to these Sims like that. They're awesome. So when it comes to single target, you're looking at roughly a 1.4% increase in single target damage, 390 to 385. This is playing like the BIS Dragonflight Season 4 Warlock Affliction profile. When it comes to Mythic Plus, you're looking at about a 2.4% DPS gain in AoE, 1.041 to 1.066. So once again, bit of a gain, nothing insane. And once again, I don't think it addresses the main issue, being the lack of like single target or AoE playing Doom Blossom versus Dread Touch. Blizz has directly said in War Within changes they made for AF, and these are both gone. They've said, yo, we understand this is a problem. We're changing AF to be based around, more consistent damage. I mean, like, so is gone in War Within, right? You're just playing Seed to apply Corruption, Rapture your Spender. These are gone as well. But either way, those are the buffs to AF. And moving on to Destruction. So Destro got 3 buffs. They're not like incredibly in-depth. They're just buffs to your single target or your Havoc cleave, basically, which is surprising. So Chaos Bolt damage has been buffed by 3%. Conflict rate buffed by 5%, and Incinerate has been buffed by 5% as well. No Immolate buffs here, so there's no like, larger gain with IC versus Entropy or like that. IC is still better in single target if you want to play it, but I mean, most people aren't at this point, still playing Entropy. By the way, 3% buff to Chaos Bolt, 5% to Conflict Rate, and 5% to Incinerate. Now, as far as the raw DPS gain is concerned, looking at Destruction here, you're looking at about a 2.3% buff in single target, going to 411, 230 in the BIS Destruction profile. Comparatively to here, the Dragonflight, the pre-buff profile, whatever. Still BIS, same profile, just pre-buff, post-buff, all that kind of stuff. Which is surprising, because if you look at, probably find it here as well, if you look at Destro, Demo, and AF, their Destruction is actually the highest simming spec for, S4 BIS profiles and all that. It's like our the 7th highest simming spec in the game, actually, right now. Albeit, it is relatively dependent on Infernal, when you're casting your Infernal, when it's the boss die, like duration-wise and all that. But if you look in here, Affliction is sitting at 391. We can zoom in a little bit. AF's at 391. Demonology's 381. And Destro's 402. Give or take a little bit of DPS. In Sims, obviously, 402 is 064 compared to 600. But AF is jumping to... Destro's jumping to 411. Which, I mean, that puts us basically right here. Like 4th highest overall, unless they buffed Frost or Ellie, which I don't believe they did. I don't think so. Let me see. Nope, not like that at all. So Destro's jumping a decent bit. Now, once again, Sims are Sims. Sims versus actuality and gameplay vary a bit. At times, I mean, a fight might die at, the 340 mark. If you're playing a 2-minute version of Destro, well, you're just barely not getting your 3rd Infernal in. At the same time, you can play a build like this for more consistency, 2 Infernals, regardless of the build, and go from there. A fight dies at 230, that's a great kill time for Destro. You get your 2nd Infernal, dump your Crashing Chaos stacks, all that, and the fight dies, right? So there's a bit of a mix here, or a bit of a asterisk, I guess, next to that. That's for a lot of specs, too, based on damage profiles and all that. But yeah, I'm a bit surprised Demonology don't really get buffed here at all. I was expecting, if they were going to tune things, Demo to get some buffs in single target. It has that very, very strong stat cleave profile that we all know about. We've seen it on Tindral, Gnarled Root, Mythic Plus. I mean, I think Demonology is criminally underrated in Mythic Plus. It's not like meta when you go to higher keys and you're pulling multiple packs with like, Destro, Rain of Fire, Inferno spam, but it's good, right? In like lower to mid tier keys, even like getting into higher keys, not pulling like very large, Demo's better than Destro most of the time. If you pull around Destro's profile, it's very strong. Otherwise, Demonology has that consistent cleave every pack. Dogs, Implosion, Hand Golden Cleave, Guillotine, Fellstorm, all that, every pack. Versus Destro having Infernal every 3 minutes. You can build a smaller one and back to pack with like, rituals and things, but yeah. So I'm surprised we didn't see any Demonology buffs. If you told me a spec was getting buffed in single target for all 3 Warlock specs, the last one I would say is likely Destruction. AF, Demo number 1, then AF, then Destro being the least likely, but hey, I mean, buffs are buffs. I don't know. We'll take it. I don't think it really changes a whole lot. It makes Destro even better, and plus, Destro's basically already meta now. It's even more so meta. But, we're not sitting at Evoker, Arms, or Ret range. Do they get nerfed at all? I doubt it, honestly. Evoker. No. Nope, and no. So, yeah. So, interesting to see. At the same time, Blizz has also nerfed Tome of Unstable Power about half an hour ago, reducing the damage by 20% and capping it at 8. I believe there's no internal cooldown on this trinket, and it's affected by haste as well. Typically, if they add ICDs to things, I could be wrong here, but I don't believe there is one. Typically, if they add ICDs, they don't really mention it publicly either, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's an ICD on this whenever Tuesday comes around. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I don't have it, because I knew it was going to get nerfed. I didn't want to farm it up. I didn't care enough. But point being, likely still strong. keeping it very strong, but keeping it in line with their trinkets. When tanks and melee, agi, and strength users begin to play an int trinket, it's too strong. So there's that. But those are the changes. Buffs to destruction in a single target for whatever reason. I'm not going to complain, I'll take it, I guess. And as far as AF is concerned, Doom Blossom, AoE based, Vile Taint, a bit of universal applicability, single target and AoE, Soul Flame, AoE based, and Soul Rot getting buffed. I will say, as far as fights are concerned, Affliction is going to utterly destroy Tindral now. If you're padding on Tindral, like in Faded, for example, which is next week, keep that in mind. Tindral is going to get actually obliterated, well, as the roots are, going to get actually obliterated by Affliction. It's going to probably surpass Demonology. The higher builds here in 10.2.5 for Affliction, I mean, they're playing Doom Blossom. They're playing Vile Taint Soul, well, they're playing Singularity, but either way, they're playing Doom Blossom, Soul Flame, the AoE build of this fight, right? Or this, of AF, right? Now, putting aside power infusions and things, Affliction is going to nuke this fight into the ground, because Affliction can also bring a decent bit of single target on this fight. And even like putting aside power infusions and other externals and stuff, Affliction playing like the Doom Blossom build, this is that top, AoE log here. You can see like damage done, go to enemies, look at roots, for example, right? Fiery Vines. Demonology, depending what they play, like Vines have been nerfed so much now, this is also pre-faded and stuff, where it's hard for Demo to like fully set up on it and get max cleave with like Guillotine and Bombers. You can still get a lot, but if you set up with AF and spam Seed and get just big cleave really fast early on, you can beat Demolox in this fight in root AoE. At the same time, looking at boss damage, you typically are a good bit ahead of Demo when it comes to the boss damage. Let's see here, damage done. Yeah, I mean, Demo's here. Demo was like the root spec in progression, right? But now it's like on roots, and it's also very bad on boss. 142 DPS, 61 million versus 74 million, 173. And this is also, like I said, playing that full AoE build, right? Still playing... somewhere, here we go, yeah. Still playing Doom Blossom, Soul Flame. We had some single target elements in Haunt, Crescendo, obviously, Singularity, Siphon Life, and all that, right? And you can funnel the boss in a sense a little bit by getting root cleave on the boss every so often with Soul Rot and all this. So, AF buffs, it's going to juice even more. Is it going to make it better than Destro or Demo Mythic Plus? No. It's just buffs to AoE essentially, but hey, in the places where you can AoE already with AF in a crazy amount, it's going to be even stronger. Destro buffs, once again, I don't really know why, but hey, I'm not going to complain. But I wish Demonology had gotten some love. Buffing Tyrant, Reign of Tyranny, I wouldn't have minded that. So thanks for watching, guys. That wraps it up. Hopefully, if you're curious about the changes, what it's going to do, sim-wise, all that, this clarified for you. I can't stop looking at my hair. I don't know what I feel about how I feel about it, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out. Anyways... Like I said, the changes that came to AF, honestly, they're interesting. It's more buffs to AoE for the most part, which is not needed, but I don't know, man. At this point, we're into S4, basically week 3. We're going to be in War Within beta in a few weeks, probably, which is like when things get going with like Mythic Plus and raid testing and actual like tuning. So, I mean, I don't know. We've already seen what AF's going to be, and with changes maybe coming a bit more in the next few weeks. I'm relatively happy with where it is in War Within. And as far as S4 is concerned, well, you win some, you lose some, but we're getting there. So, like always, if you want any week wars or add-ons on the video or links to the Sims I did not run, once again, the Lock Discord did, links to them all down below in the description, and my Twitch and Discord if you want week wars or add-ons or like that. At the same time, before we end the video, like always, a huge shout out to my patrons. For all support on Patreon, y'all, thank you a million times. I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be a link up here, as well as down below in the description. Now, I am surprised Demonology did not really get buffed much in single target. As far as War Within's concerned, hopefully some changes are coming there in the next few days, whatever, or weeks or builds, whatever. I'm surprised they didn't buff Tyrant a little bit, but I guess they're maybe happy with a 2-minute Tyrant build. Just the general spot where Demonology is right now is like, okay. It's good, very, very good in stack AoE, stack cleave, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, it's being played in a handful of areas. It's good in Plus and decent in other spots. So, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.